Hi, everybody, and welcome to Cope with Hope. Today I'm going to be interviewing April Pearson. She's one of my co actors in Disconnected, a series that we've all started 2 weeks ago. The second episode is out, and April has written the second episode as well. The minute I saw her on screen, I just felt like a heart connection with this girl, and I wanted to talk to her for Cope with Hope and find out what she's been doing ever since the lockdown and what her take on hope is, on love is, on gratitude is, and what she does to keep herself in balance at this time. So I can see that April's already joined. I'm going to get her on so that she can tell you herself what she's been doing. So I'm adding April. Hi, April.
Hi. Oh, this is so exciting. I've never done a live before.
Thank you so much for agreeing to do this.
You are so
I'm
welcome.
really
Thanks for having
thrilled.
me.
Yeah. So tell
Hi.
me, yeah, hi. You know something, this is the first time I'm speaking to her like face to face. So it's like, wow.
hmm
Firstly, I just love you on screen. And I think you've written the most amazing episode. Everybody, please watch episode 2 of Disconnected. It's on YouTube. I just loved you in that episode. I loved what you wrote. And I'm thrilled that I've met you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Yes, yes.
It's been a
So
crazy one.
it's been a crazy. So, April, will you tell us a little bit about yourself? Will you tell the audience and me a little bit about yourself and where you are right now?
Well, I'm in Brighton in the
Yes,
UK.
yes,
Um, and I have lived here for about 6 years. And
yes,
like a lot of people in Brighton, I moved down from London.
yes.
Um, and I am an actress and a producer and a filmmaker. And I live with my husband, who is also a filmmaker and an amazing writer and director. And I have basically had the fortune, I would say, of being gifted a role in Skins, the TV show, when I was very young, and that kind of propelled me into this industry, even though I always wanted to be in this industry, even from a very young age, from the kind of what do you want to be when you grow up sort
Yes.
of age. That was, yeah, that was always where I wanted to go. It was either that or go into counseling, which is weird, but I guess maybe they're sort of the same.
They are sort of
Um,
the same.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of the journey, and at the moment it's trying to stay creative and stay part of the industry, really.
Yes, it really is. And tell me, what have you, I mean, how long, we've been on lockdown now, I think for 53 days. How long have you been in like quarantine or lockdown or whatever?
You're very good knowing the number of days. I
Well, I
can't
have to
do.
know it because of this.
Oh, true, true.
That's
Well
why,
done.
yeah,
Good
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
So I think Jamie, my husband, and I quarantined. We self-isolated for a week before it was mandatory.
Yes,
And so I think that makes it. It will be. I think it's either 8 or 9 weeks on Monday.
okay.
Um, so it feels like a decent amount of time.
Yeah, a very long time.
Yeah.
Yes. And what have you been doing since then?
Um, Well, we started our because we made the decision with for to do it for ourselves. We thought, okay, we'll make the most of this time. I wrote loads of sheets up and we put them up on the wall, and we were like, we're going to do all of these things and we're going to make the most of this time. And I think as that week went on, both of us had a few symptoms, so we started feeling a bit under the weather. And then
Okay.
after that, I feel like we put too much pressure on ourselves from the start. So
Yes.
we started out with all these grand plans and then realized that actually the practicality of being able to complete all of that stuff was
Yes.
quite low. Um,
Okay.
and so since then we've been really trying to kind of not catch up, but still try and do some small achievements every day, as opposed to these kind of huge like overarching things. And
Yes.
then of course Disconnected came along, and all that was blown out of the water anyway.
So a little bit of self-compassion goes a long way.
Definitely, definitely.
Yeah.
Hard to remember, but yes.
Very hard to, especially when you like to be on the go all the time. So tell me, when you had those symptoms, what did you do? How did you deal with that?
It was very mild. I before we went into lockdown, I already had a cold, and I
Yes.
think we both. I mean, obviously we haven't got a test yet, and I think you can get them in the UK, but they're quite expensive.
They're very
But I would be surprised if it came back negative, that we'd had the antibodies. So
Yes.
we just had flu symptoms. We were both feeling
Yes.
very lethargic. We had days where we'd not wake up till like midday, 1 o'clock, and we were just thinking, oh God, how are we going to carry on? But it was, it was brief. I think probably it was like a 2 week period, the thing that
Okay.
everyone's saying. So, yeah, we didn't have any of the symptoms that caused alarm and that would mean that we might want to go into hospital. So we were
Yes.
very lucky.
And now you're feeling absolutely fine, both of you.
Absolutely fine.
That's very reassuring to hear. Okay, so April, I want to know, what is it that in these 9 weeks has kept you in balance and kept you feeling okay? Yeah, I mean, everybody goes through that time when you're feeling a little low, but what has kept you just maybe positive and in balance? What are the things that you
I
could share
think
with us?
so. Once we were feeling well again, I'm a volunteer with a food partnership in Brighton, and
Yes.
usually that consists of me being a facilitator and being a volunteer at their cookery workshops in an amazingly well established kitchen in the centre of Brighton, and also I volunteer weekly with an outreach program called Extra Time, which is
Okay.
for young people with learning disabilities, and we teach them and facilitate cooking classes for them so that they can be more independent. And of course, since the lockdown, quite a lot of those programs and projects have had to, uh, shut down or step
Yes.
back or move their content online.
Yes.
Um, and the food partnership in particular had to basically completely restructure the whole project and become more of a delivery service for
Okay.
vulnerable people in the city who can't make it to a food bank or don't have access to food or are vulnerable. And so I volunteered onto that program and I dragged Jamie along with me. And it has been, I would say, like we do it two days a week,
Yes.
and we get to be socially distant from other people. So
Yes.
we have that connection with other human beings, which I think has been incredibly balancing.
Yes.
And it's not on a screen. And I think, as an actor and an extrovert, I feel like I feed off other people's energy. So
Yes.
just personally from a kind of recharging point of view, being in that environment has been incredibly balancing, but also the work that we're doing when we're there is just it's such a wake-up call, and it's also it's the best place to kind of reevaluate what your stresses are, because
Yes.
actually I'm so fortunate, I'm lucky that I have access to food and I have my health, and so when I'm working in that project and in that environment, I'm constantly reminded of how lucky I am. So I think I would have to, it's annoying that it's not something that I can do for myself, but certainly the opportunity to have that twice a week has been an absolute godsend.
That's lovely, April. So tell me something. What is the exact work that you do when you're there? Do you
So
deliver or do you cook, or what is it?
there are two teams. Obviously, we have to remain under strict social distancing guidelines. So
Yes.
one team is based, we call it the shop, and one team is based in an old, well, it's not an old school, it is a school, but obviously the students aren't there. And we pack up food parcels. We weigh out the amount of rice or oats or pasta that we think that family or that person would need for a week.
Yes.
And then we add all of the other extra bits which are donated from various projects and shops and private donations around the city, and we package them up into a parcel, and then the food delivery team, which consists of other volunteers and also donated delivery services, again across the city. They come and pick it up, and then they take it out to the people that need it.
Okay, that's really good. And the other volunteer service that you were doing, where mainly teaching to cook, is anything happening online for that, or has that just like postponed that for a while?
I've just seen they have launched a new online cookery course featuring some of their kind of their best loved chefs. We have obviously we love working with amazing chefs in the city. Brighton is a really up and coming culinary destination, and so a lot of the chefs that normally work with people and in the class environment in the kitchen, they have offered their services as an online tutorial. And you know, obviously we're all trying to figure out workarounds and innovate to make things possible, but it looks like, yes, they'll be moving their content online. So that's very exciting.
Yeah, that's very reassuring to hear. Wonderful. Tell me, April, how did Disconnected happen for you?
So Jamie, my husband, knows Matt, who is one of the creators, through a mutual friend, Lucy Griffiths, who is an actress, and she was in Matt's film Uncanny, which was actually written by Shaheen, who is on our writers' room as part of Disconnected. And she introduced Jamie to Matt when they were in LA a few years ago, and then when I went back with Jamie to LA, we actually stayed in Matt's pool house, and him and Jamie have very like minds. They are the kind of people that just get up and do something, and their kind of spontaneity and imagination is infectious, and you can't help but kind of be sort of dragged along into whatever they're doing. And so I think when Matt called us, it was a kind of yes. He knew that we would be a safe bet, because he knew that we're filmmakers, so we're creative, so we probably want to be doing something as opposed to not doing something. And he pitched the idea, and I don't think we realized how intense and how kind of all consuming it was going to be.
All consuming is right.
So we said yes, and then we just got further and further down the rabbit hole with the writing and with you know, various social media content things that we're trying to create. It just snowballed from there, really.
So Disconnected, guys, is this crazy project that April and me are doing with other people so April's in the UK, I'm in Mumbai with my daughter, LA, Ohio, New York, and Rwanda. And so the actors themselves are shooting their own parts, and the directors are in LA and San Francisco. So it's all a hugely coordinated online effort. And we have our work on YouTube, and there are 2 episodes out so far, and it is all consuming. Anything you'd like to add, April?
I think something that lots of people have been feeding back to me is that it's amazing to see people from around the world being involved in this, and seeing sort of from a creative point of view how other people are coping with the lockdown, and also obviously we are dramatizing it, and we're making the stories a bit more kind of engaging than perhaps like the mundane life of ultimately this is. But I think it's really, for me, it's shown that this industry, at a time where we have no options, you know, we are the last the last industry to be worried about. You know, we're not key workers, we're not saving lives, but actually we are providing a service in entertainment. And I think seeing how innovative, creative, and how technology has moved on to the point where we can do things like this, and where, you know, you can be involved with something that is so international, and so can I, into completely different countries and time zones, is something to be really excited about going forward. And I think, you know, if, in the theme of the show, that makes me hopeful.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this makes me so thrilled that, wow, you know, I can talk to you. I've met this person, I know this person. And I think there's a lot of empathy in Disconnected. that, we need connectivity at this moment. We need to see what's happening in other people's lives, and you can actually connect to that. And
Yeah.
and I feel it's very important at this time to projects like this and work like this to watch. So I'm really thrilled. I feel very, very blessed that I'm part of it, and
Me
that we're
too.
all part of it together. So April, tell me what hope means to you.
It's such a difficult question, Nan. It's honestly so it's so difficult. I've been trying to put together a succinct way of describing what it means, and I think the only thing I can attribute it to is just that kind of feeling of being able to enjoy what you're doing in the moment. And I think actors, I'm going to speak for I'm going to generalize, but
Yes.
maybe for myself, are always thinking, what's next? What's the next
Yes.
thing?
Yes.
I'm only as good as the work I've just done. What can I do now?
Yes.
How so what's coming next? And I feel like that
Yes.
then trickles into my daily life, and it stops me from being able to just enjoy sitting in the sun for 5 minutes, or doing laundry, or whatever it is. I'm so lucky to do those things that I feel like the way I've been living my life has kind of taken that away from me in a way, because I do feel like there's this constant comparing yourself to what other people are doing, and certainly from what I look like and how I'm seen by the people, I constantly think, well, why is that person getting a job and I'm not? I know that it's the same in lots of industries, but certainly in I think what we do, the immediacy of you making a decision to say no to a script or something, there's someone behind you who's going to do it, and is
Yes.
younger, and is
Yes.
going to do it for less money, and
Yes.
so you do, I feel like you end up losing sight of enjoying the things as they happen. And I think, I know it's a weird side step from hope as in like a dictionary definition, but it's what I could come up with.
I want your definition.
Well, there you go.
So there you go. So can you say it in one sentence again, or
So
two
for me,
sentences?
okay, so for me, hope is when you're enjoying doing something that you're doing in the moment at that one time, and not worrying about what happens in the next 5 minutes.
I love it, because that's what all meditation, all teachings, all ways to peace is, that one thing, enjoying what you're doing in the moment. That is one of the biggest secrets in life. Because if you enjoy what you're doing in the moment, then you're just focused here, and you open the door for other miracles to happen in your life,
Mm-hmm.
like Disconnected.
There you go.
Yeah?
There you go. See, I'm wiser than I think.
No, you're very wise, okay? Yeah. Where does gratitude fit into your life?
Oh, I think gratitude is everything. It's the most humbling of all the things that you could be. And I think so many people skip over it.
Yes.
I think sometimes actually gratitude can be debilitating. It can if you're very unselfish. I don't know what the
Yes.
opposite of selfish is. Not selfish. Then sometimes you can be stepped on. Sometimes if you don't put yourself first, and you aren't grateful, or you are so grateful for things all the time, people can take advantage of that. And I think it's difficult when you are a nice person and you're gracious to be making yourself vulnerable like that.
Yes.
But I think if you're not a gracious person, then you're not a very nice person.
No, you're not. I think it's important to have gratitude with boundaries.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes. Yeah, because otherwise you're open to yes, gratitude. I can't elaborate. You said it perfectly.
Yeah, love. What is love for April?
Love from April is definitely something that I put out into the world as opposed to accept in easily. I think that's probably a failing of mine, and I certainly can't put that into practice in my own life in terms of how I speak to myself. I would say love is something that I give and can achieve very freely with other people. But I struggle with seeing myself in that way. I read a an article this morning about how you need to be your own best friend. And
Yes.
I've never even looked at it like that. I've never thought, you know, obviously the advice I would give to my best friends, I've never really looked at kind of doing that for myself. So I think love for me is something that comes very naturally to me. I'm lucky that I can fall in love easily and I can give love very freely. But on the flip side of that, I do think I need to work on how I see it in myself.
Beautifully put. The way forward. What do you see as the way forward in our industry and just the world at large?
I think if there's one thing that this global pandemic has shown all of us, it's that you need to go outside and meet your neighbors. In our culture, we have got to the point where we don't even know people living in the same building as us. We don't have that sort of street party culture anymore. We did have many years ago, and if you're looking at comparing things to the war and the last time that we had to have this sort of home front effort,
yes.
We have forgotten. And I think the beautiful thing that has been happening, certainly in our country, is that people have been connecting to people that they've never met. The acts of kindness, the random acts of selflessness that have been happening. And I do think that not only is the planet going to benefit from this break and the fact that people aren't constantly on the go and flying everywhere and driving everywhere,
Yes.
but I think that kind of sense of community, I hope, is something that we needed to be reminded of. And if there is something positive to come from this horrific devastation, I think that going forward, the sense of community that we've found is going to save us.
That's so beautifully put. April, is there anything else that you'd like to tell the audience? Any last minute advice, any last minute, something that you thought of this morning?
I think it is that little voice that's telling you, oh, don't do that. You know, the voice that was telling me, oh, you can't do a live, you can't go on live on Instagram. You can't go live on Instagram with Nandinii, who you've been working with remotely, and talk to her for the first time in front of lots of people
about love.
About love, right? I think that's probably it. You can do that. That would be my advice. Just pick up the iPhone 6, Nandinii, and film a TV show.
iPhone 6. Well, we've upgraded now.
I know. I heard you've upgraded.
Yeah. So you know something. I saw you in episode 2. No, I think I asked you before episode 2. Well, I just saw you and I said, I'm going to ask April. And then I said, oh, should I ask her? And I said, yes, you can do it. And I did it.
Mm-hmm.
And
there you
here
go.
we are.
Of course. It's amazing to see what you guys are doing. Honestly, it's just incredible. The innovation that you have. I know that you've been set an amazing camera now, and I know that that's got other issues that come with it in terms of uploading 50 gig of data with slightly dodgy
5
internet.
days.
But we're making it work.
We're making it work, yeah. And there's a lot of love going around, I think, with everybody. Yeah, so that's great.
Yeah, everyone's enjoying it. And we were saying to Anton's wife, Katie, yesterday, where's the wrap party going to be? Because we're all around the world. Where are we going to go?
I know.
But Matt was saying maybe it will be Lavana, which is his restaurant in Rwanda, which is where Clarice and Innocent are filming their section of. I don't know how we'll ever get there, but maybe we'll have to have it on Zoom.
Yeah, but I would like us all to be there together. That would be
100%.
Awesome.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah, it would be great. It would be great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have you finished your filming?
Have I finished?
Have you done filming for episode 4?
Yes, I slept at 3 a.m. last night, and
we've got a late one tonight too.
So I was said, okay, fine, I'll sleep a little bit, then I'll just wake up. And then I said, no, you just better walk around. I didn't want to be asleep for this interview. And Tasha and Umang slept at 5 in the morning.
Wow. I mean, guys, they have a lot to do in episode 4 is a big one for India. So they've got a lot to do. And I can't believe that you were doing some of that stuff at 3 a.m. That's commitment. Well done.
Yeah, well, thank you, and well done you. Well done all of us. Here's a big shout
Yay!
out for Disconnected and everybody on Disconnected.
Yes, we love you guys. Keep going.
Yeah, we love you guys. We love you, Matt and Anton and Ashley and Katie and everyone who's, I haven't said everybody's names, but you're all there in our hearts.
There's too many. There's about 50 of us now.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, this is great. It was
great.
just awesome.
I love what you're
speaking to
doing.
you.
It's been great.
Thank
And I love
you.
your meditations that you're giving. They're really, really helpful for 5 minutes of peace. And I love what you're doing. So keep doing it.
Thank you so much. So every Monday, Thursday at 3:30 India time, the meditations will continue.
That's amazing.
Love you. Yeah.
Love you.
Thank you, April. Hope to see you soon.
Yes. Let's hope.
Yeah. Yeah. Bye.
Get it?
Yeah, get it.
Bye.
Bye. See you.